The moment the calendar screamed December 1st, something entered Madame Belladonna, not joy, not peace. Something spiritual, something dangerous. Her eyes sharpened, her voice changed pitch. Her footsteps became faster, louder, purposeful. It was as if she had been officially appointed minister of Christmas drip and festive shakara affairs. Every morning, before the rooster even cleared its throat, she would stand in front of her small mirror, adjust her wrapper like a runway model, and whisper, like a war chant, "This year, my enemies will remember that I am still their mother." Her husband, Mr. Titus or Laura, a calm man built with patience and quiet suffering, would silently tie his shoes and pretend he heard nothing, because he already knew. December stole his wife every year. Normally, Belladonna was loud but manageable, but once the Harmattan breeze arrived and Christmas songs started leaking from radios, her brain switched channels and began singing only one song, "Buy clothes or die trying." In the neighborhood, her condition was common knowledge. Even the neighbors' goats avoided her. One time she had looked at one and snapped, "Move. You don't know fashion." Belladonna wasn't just obsessed. She was possessed. To her, Christmas wasn't for rest. It wasn't for food. It wasn't even for joy. Christmas was for slaying. Matching outfits, expensive lace, designer shoes. Family photos that made you look richer than your entire generation combined. Meanwhile, Titus had only one problem: money. And the money was not moneying. He worked in a small printing shop where salary was promised on the 25th, but usually arrived on the 31st, because, the economy, rent was waiting. School fees were stretching. Food prices were jumping like popcorn, and January, that wicked month, behaved like it had 60 days instead of 3. One quiet evening, they ate rice without chicken, not fasting. Chicken was just expensive. Titus cleared his throat carefully, like a man stepping on landmines. "Belladonna, this Christmas, let us manage what we have." She continued eating. "The children's clothes from last year are still fine." Silence. "Your dress is fine, my shirt is fine. Let us use what we already have." Belladonna dropped her spoon. Dramatically. Like he had asked her to drink kerosene. Her mouth opened wide, like a broken cupboard. "Manage?" Titus nodded slowly. "Yes, manage." She touched her chest. "Titus, are you trying to kill my social life?" He blinked. "You want people to discuss me behind my back? You want Mama Das to say I am suffering?" She leaned forward. "Christmas comes once a year. Why should my enemies see me repeating clothes?" Titus sighed. Deep, tired, begging. "Now, not arguing. Please, let us be wise. Money is tight. January will be long. Let us behave ourselves." Belladonna smiled. Sweetly. To sweet. Suspiciously sweet, the kind of smile that says, "I heard you, and I will still do what my spirit wants. No problem, my husband. We will manage." Calm words, but inside her head, drums were beating over my dead body. Because Belladonna had a personal rule: even if I don't have food, I must have clothes. Clothes can console me. And that night, the madness began to ferment. She scrolled through online shops like someone under hypnosis. Lace that cost more than her rent, Ankara styles demanding 50 yards of fabric, children's designer shoes shining like disco balls. As she scrolled, she whispered, "My family must shine like a Christmas star. We cannot enter church looking like fifth-hand cotton." She started measuring her children secretly while they slept. So Titus wouldn't notice. One night, her daughter woke up screaming, "Mommy, why are you tying tape on my leg?" Belladonna whispered urgently, "I am checking your future." Sleep. And then, like Eve meeting the serpent, Aquasi appeared. The credit seller, a man with a sharp mouth, a sharper calculator, and the sharpest memory. He could forget his own birthday, but never his money. That afternoon, he passed their compound carrying bags of clothes, shoes, and wigs. Belladonna's eyes locked on him. Magnetized. He smelled like temptation. Like the devil selling discounts. "Madam Bella, come and see Christmas clothes. Take now, pay after Christmas. Small payments allowed." Belladonna trembled. Like someone receiving prophecy. "Your family will shine, people will talk, everybody will admire." Her spirit left her body, then returned with approval. "Let me see them." And that was it. The fall. She didn't buy one, she didn't buy two. She bought matching family outfits. 3 clothes for each child, a wig shining like imported mermaid hair, glittering shoes, even sunglasses for picture effect. 1 full month's salary. She didn't care. She floated home in excitement, hugging the bags like stolen treasure, whispering, "December will fear me this year." She smuggled everything into the house like contraband, stuffed them inside Ghana Musco bags, buried them under the bed. She walked around smiling dangerously. The children noticed. "Mommy, why are you smiling like that?" She replied, mind your business, wonders are loading. Then, the countdown began. December 24th arrived early, stretching its shoulders like it came to scatter somebody's destiny. Before sunrise, Belladonna had swept the compound 4 times, brushed the children's teeth twice, ironed imaginary clothes, checked the Ghana must-go bag 6 times, just to be sure the clothes hadn't grown legs. Excitement jumped inside her like premium malaria mixed with sugar. She smiled at Titus suspiciously while Titus was busy calculating rice, chicken, soft drinks, and how January would not kill them. By 8 a.m., she decided it was time. She locked the door, dragged out the big bag, opened it slowly, like a treasure chest in an adventure movie. She arranged the clothes on the bed, her eyes shining. Junior, favor Mimi? Her voice dripping drama. Come and see Christmas miracle. The children ran in. Screaming. Jumping. New clothes, new shoes, new sunglasses. They rolled on the lace, hugged everything. Belladonna smiled like someone who had just purchased destiny. She even wore the children's socks. Then Titus entered. He froze. Blinked. Looked around, checked the room number. Then whispered, Belladonna, where did all this come from? She raised her hands to heaven immediately. My husband. A miracle happened. His eyebrows collided. What miracle? She placed one hand on her chest. Full Nollywood mode. Somebody blessed us. God said we will shine. Titus squinted. The smile on her face smelled like fresh lies. A friend, she added quickly. She doesn't want her name mentioned. He looked at the children. At the clothes. At the wig shining like imported mermaid hair. Then back at Belladonna. And the room fell silent. Belladonna, be honest. Did you borrow this clothes? Belladonna placed a finger on her tongue as if she wanted to swear but changed her mind halfway. Baroque over my stylish dead body. My enemies will faint this Christmas. We will look like royalty. Title sighed. Something didn't add up. But he did not want trouble. It was Christmas Eve after all. So he decided to trust his wife Cows. What else could he do? He was tired of stress. Meanwhile, Belladonna was already planning her Christmas Day entrance like an international cert. She rehearsed poses in the mirror, practiced slow motion walking and even coached the children. When we're entering church, all of you must walk gently, no running, no scratching body and smile. Let the angels envy us. The children nodded like soldiers receiving orders. She later stepped out of the house to fan herself and pretend to be humble, while secretly waiting for neighbors to admire her clothes. Mamadas passed by and her scream echoed inside the compound. See Christmas clothes you people Wilsley. Belladonna smiled like someone being worshipped. However, while all this was going on, Akwasi, the credit seller, was sitting in his shop, pressing calculator with the anger of 10 accountants. He counted 1 to 3 for 4 weeks. 4 weeks to wait before I collect my money. He hissed so loudly that even his ancestors heard. I have changed my mind today. I will collect me money by fire by force. He gathered 12 assistants with strong chest and strong voices, and they rehearsed their entrance like a military operation. No mercy. She must pay today. By 6 p.m., Titus returned home carrying his December paycheck, smiling because he wanted to buy chicken. They will cook stew and maybe even fry plantain. He would make sure his children enjoy Christmas. Belladonna welcomed him like an angel of joy, dancing and shaking hair up her. But just as soon as Titus sat down, they heard a sound at the door. Boom. Bang, bang, bang. The knock did not sound like ordinary knock. It sounded like IRS mixed with police mixed with angry landlord. This was the kind-off knock that makes the heart jump out of the body. Titus looked at Belladonna. Belladonna looked at Titus slowly. The children hid behind chairs. Akwasi and his debt-collecting squad stood at the door like Avengers from Ghana. Akwasi lifted his voice. Madame Belladonna, we have come for our money. The knock came again louder. Bang, bang, bang. Then another voice followed, a voice that had no respect. Belladonna, open this door before we open it ourselves. And right there, their Christmas began to scatter. Titus rubbed his forehead slowly and turned his head like a slow-moving robot to face his wife. Belladonna, what is going on? Before she could manufacture story part woe, the door bust open and a quasi-thecredit seller marched in with 2 muscular assistants, who looked like they were crafted from pure frustration. Akwasi wasn't smiling, not even small. His face was squeezed like someone smelling rotten fish. Good evening. We're here for the money. Titus blinked. Money for what? Akwasi true. He sensed dramatically like an actor in a Ghanaian telenovela. For the Christmas clothes your wife bought on credits. Expensive ones, imported ones. Matching family sets, leather shoes, lace, wigs, stockings, all of them pay now. Peter stood still. He did not blink, he did not breathe. He did not even move, Hess imply. Replayed the sentence in his head like a WhatsApp voice note. Christmasklets your wife bought on credit. Slowly he turned to Belladonna, who was already shrinking like dried leaves with their heads on her, just as if something was dragging her throat. Belladonna, tell me this man is lying. Belladonna opened her mouth but no words came out. Only hot air escaped like a balloon. Akwasi clapped sharply. My brother, she's not deaf. The total is 4,280 cities. Bring the money now. Titus felt the spirit left his body. Check the situation from outside and then return with disappointment. 4,000 words. One off debt collectors added confidently. 80 pesos, as if that was the important part. Belladonna finally found her voice. Titles, my husband, please let me explain. Explain what? Titles exploded. Akwasi, who was not interested in any family drama, pointed to the Ghana Musco bag. If you don't pay now, we will collect this clothes back, all of them including the children's socks. Bring them out, the children screamed. No to our Christmas clothes. Belladonna grabbed the bag with both hands, hugging it like a baby. Please don't touch the clothes. They are brand new, we must lay tomorrow. The neighbors began gathering at this point because where there is noise, there is free entertainment. Mama Duckas, the unofficial CCTV of the compound, stood at the doorway with her arms folded. Ah hey, today we will see Christmas. Titus turned to Belladonna slowly, shaking with anger. So you went behind my back, bought clothes on credit, and lied. It was a miracle, Belladonna stammered. My husband, I just wanted us to shine small. People are watching us. Titles threw his hands in the air. Let them watch your stupidity. Mama Da shouted from outside. Yes, sir, we are watching life. Titles paced the room like a lion in a cage, rubbing his head, sweating, thinking of rent, thinking of school fees, and thinking of January hunger that bites like a stubborn dog. Aqua stepped his foot impatiently. Mr. Man, where is the money? Titus froze his December paycheck, his only Christmas hope, his January survival. Slowly and painfully, he walked to where he kept the envelope. His hands shook as he opened it. Belladonna cried loudly, begging, kneeling, holding his leg and his trousers, holding everything she could hold. Titus, please don't finish money, please. I am sorry, but she is the one who opened the gate for trouble. Titles handed the entire money to Akwasi, who counted it faster than a calculator. When he finished, he nodded. Balance correct. Merry Christmas. He turned and walked out like a dead angel of destruction. The compound was silent. Title stood in the middle of the room looking empty. Belladonna knelt, crying as if someone was peeling onions into her heart. The children stared at the ceiling, wondering why their lives were behaving like a Nigerian movie. Finally, Titus spoke. Very good, so tomorrow we will wear expensive clothes, but Norris, no chicken, no drink, no nothing. Belladonna wept. I am sorry. I am sorry. Titus shook his head. No need. It is not in my place to judge December pressure. The neighbors dispersed to go and juice properly while the family went to bed hungry. Hours later, Christmas morning arrived with full brightness. The birds were singing and children were shouting in excitement everywhere. Butte inside Belladonna and Title's house. The atmosphere was darker than a storeroom during power outage. Hunger was sitting on one chair, shame was sitting on another, and regret was lying comfortably on the floor, fanning itself. Still, the clothes had to be worn because money had already died for them. By 7:00 a.m., Belladonna pulled out the matching outfits with the weakness of someone carrying an emotional load. She ironed them heavily, pressing the clothes as if she was trying to iron out her mistakes. The children were excited, jumping around completely, unaware they were dressing up for a hunger parade. Junior shouted, Mommy, see I look like a prince. Favorite whirled in her lace gown and Ducka's will for me today. Belladonna forced a smile, but inside her stomach was singing Papa like a talking drum. At a funeral, Titus dressed in silence, slowly buttoning his hurt like someone attending court for a crime he didn't commit. When he looked at himself in the mirror, he sighed deeply. Fine boy, empty pockets. Belladonna planned to wear makeup, but her tears from the night before had swollen her face. Still, she dusted powder anyhow and told herself, even if I am dying, I must be fine on the outside. By 8:30 a.m. they stepped out as a family unit in matching clothes, shining shoes, coordinated colors, and hungry faces disguised with fake smiles. Immediately they stepped out of their door. Mama Duck has shouted, "As elegance, you people are matching." Another neighbor added, "Money is sticking, God is good." Oh. Titus almost fainted while Belladonna laughed awkwardly. We thank God, but in her mind she cried, if only God would hide me in his armpits until today passes. They walked to church like a slow-moving royalty, holding their bellies so hunger would not embarrass them on the way. At the church entrance, one usher screamed, "Wow, Family goes, another one whispered. Hey, money day their house. But only God and Titus knew the truth. There was not one grain off rice waiting for them at home. As they sat down, their stomachs started singing the national anthem. We are hungry, we are hungry. Favor asked, Daddy, what are we eating after church? Titus looked straight ahead, blinking slowly like a robot malfunction. Ask your mother. Junior asked Mommy. What will we eat? Belladonna answered without blinking. Holy Communion will collect to 2. Meanwhile, the pastor was preaching about joy, but Titus couldn't focus. Every time the pastor shouted, Hallelujah, Titus heard his lost paycheck. Belladonna couldn't focus either. Every time the pastor said rejoice, she remembered the money she wasted and wanted to remove her wig to cry. After service, as families took pictures rushing to go devour the chicken Angeloff waiting at home, the Alarunda family took pictures and walked sluggishly to go meet the Gary waiting for them at home. When they got home, Titus entered the kitchen, came out holding a bowl of plain Gary and water and announced, Merry Christmas, my dear family. The children looked confused. But Daddy, where is the rice and chicken? Titus calmly said. Your mother has eaten the rice. Belladonna scram which rice me rice? Titus looked at her slowly. You used us money to buy wig, right? The children gasped. Belladonna carried her fist with both hands. They sat around the table, all of them wearing expensive lace, glittering shoes, and matching outfits, but drinking Gary with no cigar. Neighbors walked past their window smelling of fried chicken and meat pie while the Alurum that swallowed silence and shame. Even Thegri looked embarrassed. The youngest child, Mimi, tasted the Gary and whispered, Mommy, this Gary tasted poor. Titus stood up and left the table before he would say something that would send him to prison. Belladonna wanted to cry, but she drank her Gary instead because T.S. could not feel the stomach. The entire compound talked about their outfits. Nobody even talked about their hunger because nobody knew what went on behind the scenes. And that evening, when Belladonna removed her clothes and folded them, she realized something foolish. I suffered all this emotional dam for clothes people only admired for 2 minutes. Meanwhile, January was already waiting outside the door sharpening its cut glass. Because after Christmas Gary comes 62 days of January Construction Limited and the Olamuda family was about to receive a full contract, exactly a week after Christmas. January entered like a stubborn landlord, loud, unapologetic, and ready to collect everything, while other families were still posting Christmas pictures with leftover chicken stews. Along with that family was doing prayer and fasting by force. Not because they planned it, though, but because there was simply no food to eat. School resumed on the night, but the school fees were still sitting inside the principal's office waiting for them. Title's transport money finished by the 5th of January. Belladonna had stopped adjoining compound gossip meetings because she knew the entire neighborhood saw her family drinking Gary on Christmas Day. Every morning she woke up and prayed, God, carry me through this month. January is doing too much. She began walking carefully in the house as if hunger was chasing her. One morning, Titus was ironing his shirt quietly when the iron suddenly stopped making heat. It meant that light unit had finished. Titus looked at the iron, then at the ceiling, and shook his head. So you two want to disgrace me? He dropped it and sighed. They now cut soap into 2 pieces so it would last longer. The children carried leftover cabin biscuits to school at lunch. Titus stretched to work on some days because there was no transport fare. Belladonna now counted bins as if she wanted to do lottery. Everything was tight. On the 12th of January, the children's school sent a letter home like a threatening spirit. If school fees are not paid, children will sit outside and watch the class through the window. Belladonna nearly fainted. She looked at Titus with fear in her eyes. My husband, what do we do? Titus looked at her slowly. Belladonna, if you did not buy those clothes on credit, we would not be here. She broke down crying. The shame of December was following her like a shadow with long legs. A few days later, the landlord knocked. Good afternoon. I am just reminding you that rent will be due soon. Belladonna screamed internally. Titus held his head. However, January continued stretching like a rubber band. The days felt long, like 60-day skis inside a 31-day month. Their neighbors were still cooking jollof, frying meats, eating fruits, laughing and gisting. Meanwhile, the Ilurundis were practicing quietness ministry. One evening, as they all sat on the floor, Mimi asked something innocent but painful. Mommy, will we drink dar again this Christmas? Belladonna swallowed her shame with saliva. No, baby. Next Christmas we will eat rice and chicken. Junior added, Mommy, next Christmas, please. No new clothes. Let us use our old clothes and eat food. Instead, Thatone finished her. Belladonna burst into hot tears, crying from shame. Regret and hunger mixed together. She crawled to Totitus's feet, knelt, held his legs, and apologized. My husband, please forgive him, I allowed Christmas pressure toned her. My head, I allowed pride to control me. I made us suffer, I didn't listen. I wanted people to talk good about me, but look at us. Nobody even remembered our clothes after Christmas. All the suffering was useless. Tidal sighed deeply and lifted her up gently. Belladonna, I love you, but you need to understand that a family eats before it shines. If you hadn't experienced this firsthand, maybe you wouldn't still understand contentment and humility. Clothes cannot replace food. Life is not a fashion parade. We should manage what we have until God blesses us more, she nodded. Still crying, I have learned my lesson, and the lesson beats me well in February. When the paycheck finally arrived and they entered small piece, Belladonna folded the Christmas clothes and kept them aside. She purposely avoided them because whenever she opened that Ganna must-go bag, she saw hunger, debt, shame and mistake. From that day onward, whenever a friend said, let us buy new clothes for Christmas, Belladonna would reply, my dear, it is better to eat rice and smile than Toshini and drink Gary. Her new motto became, clothes don't make Christmas, food and family does. When the next Christmas came, she didn't buy anything new. She ironed last year's clothes proudly, cooked jollof with chicken, fried plantain, bought drinks. And when Mama Duck has shouted, Belladonna, where are the new clothes? She laughed peacefully, they are in the store. This year, we are shining in the stomach. Note in the streets, that year, the Alunda family had a peaceful, joyful, and shame-free Christmas because Belladonna had learned the lesson December taught her, which was that it is better to eat well and rest than to shine in suffering and pretend for people who will forget your clothes in 24 hours. Thank you for watching the story. Kindly share your thoughts about this story with me in the comment section. What lesson did you learn from this story? Kindly share this story out with your loved ones and give its story a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel if you've not done so by now. Until I bring another story your way. Bye.